Welcome back to Daybreak USA. Here's Angie Austin.
Yes, indeed, it is Angie Austin. Hope you're having a great start to your day. It's going to get better because we have my friend Brian Watson. He is the author of The 7 Rings, A Journey to a Balanced Life of Peace, Passion, and Purpose. Welcome, Brian.
Thanks for having me on the show, Angie.
All right. I wanted you to join us because I knew a lot about you. I know how wildly successful you are in the commercial real estate world. And I also know a lot about your philanthropy, how you make money to give money in many ways. And I was fascinated by where you came from because my story is very similar to yours, although you've reached greater heights than I have. But I mean, your background, you really did come from nothing. So I want to get into how you worked through those years to reach your success. But also in '08, after you'd reached a lot of success, you lost pretty much your shirt per se, and then you rebuilt your business. So let's start, before we get into the 7 rings, which we'll do in our next interview, let's start how you did this and built this career from nothing.
Well, I came from a family of entrepreneurs, and my family taught me just about, hard work and blessings and trying to go make a positive change in the world. And so I always wanted to have my own company. And so I went and got a degree and was a broker for a number of years and started Northstar Commercial Partners 17 years ago. And I didn't have any outside investors. My parents didn't put any money in. I had saved up enough money and said, you know what, I'm going to go take hopefully a step backward for a giant leap forward. And here 17 years later, we now own assets in 17 states around the country. And I've just been real fortunate to try to create some more opportunity for others.
Now, you say got a college education, but one word really stuck out to me after college. First of all, you worked all through college, and I could really relate to that. I worked 7 days a week. But one word at the beginning of your book stood out that really, to me, encapsulates kind of who you are. It was, I was undaunted. And that word I put in caps in my notes because you were told by every single real estate firm you contacted they didn't have anything. So one firm, you actually said, I'll work for free. And you said you were undaunted and you wouldn't stop calling them. And when I was trying to get a job at a hospital during college, literally as a cleaning girl, seriously, but they offered $2 more than minimum wage, I wouldn't stop calling them. I was undaunted. And I think that's a quality that many people don't have. So they can't get out of their current circumstances. So explain kind of that after college years, how you got started when no one would hire you.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I think, with the old saying of how many times you hear no in the world, and it's a whole lot more than you hear the word yes. And so, I got out of college and I was going to go to the Peace Corps, and unfortunately that fell through just a few months before I was ready to leave for Africa. And so I came back to Denver and I said, I've got to get a job. And I always wanted to be in commercial real estate. So everyone kept telling me no. And finally I said, you know what, I'm just going to be persistent because this is where I want to work. And in the book I mentioned that I told them I'll come down and work for free on Monday morning. All you have to do is give me a cubicle and a phone and you don't have to pay me anything. And I'll show you what I can do. And I think finally they just gave up. They said, you know what, this is obviously the kind of person we want because he's not going to take no for an answer. And he's going to be a hardworking employee, which will create more benefit for us. And so they allowed me to come down, and I'm glad that they did.
I love that. I ran into the woman that hired me when I was so young because I wouldn't leave her alone. And she said, I had never had someone call me so many times. I finally hired you to get you to leave me alone.
And I know you can be persuasive, Angie, so I can see that.
Oh, that makes me laugh. Okay, so let's jump up to 2008. Okay, so you're a dad. You've been married for a couple of decades now. And at the time, you were very successful. You lost a lot. Like you guys could have filed for bankruptcy and gone under. Your wife, Patricia, is your attorney, and the two of you decided you were just going to dig your way out of the situation you were in, and it worked. But I think a lot of people might have thrown in the towel. So talk about what kept you going after you worked so hard to build this business and the rug got pulled out from under you.
You bet. And many people told us to throw in the towel at the end of the day. But, our main business model is buying vacant commercial real estate buildings and creating jobs and opportunity for Americans in them. And during that process, as we were buying vacant buildings, all of a sudden the entire market collapsed. And a lot of real estate values plummeted by 50, 80% or more. And so I had personally guaranteed that debt because of the risk of buying vacant buildings and trying to create productive environments for them. And so it was one of the most challenging times of my life, and it was very, very painful. And we had to, we try to keep our employees as long as we could. They're like family to us. and all of that outflow and no inflow. And, I wouldn't trade it for the world, though, because even though it was challenging and we lost all of our net worth, everything was up for sale, we depleted all of our savings that we had created, there's some wonderful lessons to be learned during those periods. And one of which was that my wife and I, we do work together in the firm. And it was just a time where it was fortunate that we were able to work together, and our marriage actually even grew closer through that period. It wasn't easy. It was very painful. But, it makes you stronger when you're able to come through periods like that and just realize how fortunate that you are.
Okay, I want to give a preview of the 7 rings because you'll be back tomorrow, and we're going to go through the 7 rings in your book, A Journey to a Balanced Life of Peace, Passion, and Purpose. So tell us the 7 rings as a tease ahead, and tomorrow we'll break them down.
Well, the idea of the book, I wrote it just to, help encourage others. 100% of the proceeds are donated away. I didn't write it to make money, but I just asked these questions of what are these 7 rings in your life? For me, over the years, I've created this prioritization in my life of what's at the center of my life, and then the second and third ring, and all the way out to the outer ring. And what is interesting for me is that business for me is the 7th and final ring.
Wow.
It's not the most important thing in my life. It is very important to me, but it's the 7th ring. And I encourage people to examine where the rings are in their life and what the rings should be. And I think it helps to create a more balanced life when you understand prioritization and what does that look like for you personally.
Where's the best place to find the book, Brian?
You can get it on Amazon.com, or you can go to my personal website, brianwatson.us.
Excellent. Thanks, Brian. Talk to you tomorrow.
Sounds good. Thank you.